Matthew was like a jazz musician in the sense, like he was floating through ideas, like an improvisation.
When he paints, he loses a sense of time. He's just completely in the flow. And that actually for him was a way to survive. I think he was looking for primal energy. Van Gogh is an example of that.
At first, it looks like, he's like a Van Gogh, he's a pointillist, but he took that and he made it his own, with his own hand, his own gestures, everything.
There are very obvious relationships. The sun, the flowers, the sunflowers, also choices of color and thickness of paint.
Matthew and Van Gogh have a very important through line that goes through both their works in terms of listening to their inner self and letting that guide them.
He was interested in this lone figure in the midst of some fantastic imagined landscape, almost overwhelmed or buried in this kind of incredible weight of the landscape in which this figure is standing.
They kind of deal with the smallness of self and the bigness of the world.
There's a lot of melancholy, there's a lot of sadness, loneliness. Yeah, it also makes me think of where he would place himself each time he would make a painting. You could tell he was sort of trying to inhabit this landscape.
Maybe almost frightening and scary, so anxiety also. You can sense anxiety in the work as much as you can sense beauty and peace.
There was an undercurrent of sorrow and a kind of morose sadness, but it was rendered so utterly beautifully. It's a breathtakingly beautiful composition.
I knew that Matthew was struggling and that life was difficult. His mental health and the way that his life was going was difficult. So I know he didn't feel normal. He felt things were holding him back.
Matthew had a variety of mental health challenges. He was on the autism spectrum. He was chronically depressed. He suffered from anxiety attacks, and he had a Tourette's syndrome.
You wouldn't interact with him and think he has Tourette's or he has some other disorder of the sort. No, I knew because I know his mom and I know his history.
He was able to go to New York for like a week time, and then he was really able to perform or to be that social person within the New York art world. But then after that, he had to retreat to Edmonton, where he lived to work and live in peace and quiet of that town.
I could sense that Matthew had differences in the way that he thought and in the way that he felt about the world and in the way that he felt about himself.
In terms of what he could do, what he couldn't do that normal people could do. These are questions that he definitely asked himself.
But he hungered for ties, for communication. I mean, so much of our conversations were about his presence online. Should I remain public, my account, accessible to other people? Should I go private? Am I overexposing myself?
He was kind of jumping back and forth between extreme confidence and utter insecurity.
If you paint too hard and too fast and too much, you can drive yourself insane.
I felt like he was quite troubled and that he was in a lot of pain.
I remember hearing from somebody I didn't know very well in the art world. I honestly couldn't wrap my head around it.
Very big shock to the world.
I was meant to go to his funeral and I couldn't do too much.
There's a lot of pressure, you know, when you're getting more established and you have to do certain things. And some things went to his head.
All the success in the world would not have stopped him from taking the course of action that he took. That was his only way out.
And I'm angry the way I'm angry at Van Gogh. Just when he nailed what he was doing and he could bring what he was doing in drawing into painting, Van Gogh killed himself. So Matthew was poised to pass to the next phase, and we'll never see that.
Painting wasn't the last resort for Matthew Warren. Painting was the first resort. That gave him a reason to live, and if it wasn't for painting, he probably wouldn't have made it to 20.
It seemed like painting definitely gave him some happiness.
I would say all great art comes from an inner necessity.
He wanted his work to have a certain kind of universal value. So it should speak to everyone. And I think it does speak to everyone.
People have a lot to gain from it, just like people have a lot to gain from painters like Van Gogh.
We'll never have another painting, and I'm grateful for every single one that he made.
In one word, he was an artist with insatiable curiosity.